times I was looking at myself in the mirror going, dude, why are you putting on khakis?
Where Gunny Hawley, who was blown up and killed, who had 2 children, I lived in a reality for about, I think, 15 years that it should have been me.
Your source of strength has never been you. It has always been from somewhere else. It's just my belief that mine is from God, and I choose to rely on God, and I'm far from perfect. I screw up all the time, but my life is at peace. I have found a point past the storm where I am at peace.
When things got really bad, which they will, we all are going to have times in our life where we just can't handle some things. To know that reaching out for help is an option. It's the same as going to the doctor when you can't get over the common cold and it's turned into something crazy.
Yep.
Or sinus infection. You got to go to a doctor and get medicine. It's the same with your mental health.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bunkhouse. This is my first ever live, brought to you by Military Broadcast Radio, where we give veterans a voice. So before we get started and bring on my guests, I would like to ask everybody to go ahead and go into either YouTube or wherever you're streaming from. Go ahead and go to the Bunkhouse podcast channel and like, follow, and subscribe. Share it, please. Get everybody in here. So without further ado, I'll bring on my guest, David McCleary. David, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show, man.
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. Thank you again for being part of my first ever live here with Military Broadcast Radio, man. If you could give everybody just a quick little intro about who you are and kind of your background as a veteran.
My name's David McCleary. I'm a 14-year CB veteran. I was discharged back in 2010, and I got out, did some stuff in civilian side, got away from the military, came back as a VSO, and then I ended up getting with a few nonprofits, and I've been moving on since then. I'm the executive director for Buddy Check 22 Veteran Suicide Awareness. That's a local one here. We pay for mental health therapy for veterans, their spouses, their family members at our local hospital, and they're doing telehealth now. I am board member for Project Headspace and Timing. That's a mental health organization that we get veterans out, just get them out of the house, do outdoor things, that type of stuff. I chair the Kankakee County Veteran Suicide Awareness Coalition. Just a member of different businesses, like-minded people that want to help try to eliminate the veteran suicide. And then I just sit on a couple other boards, help out, volunteer. I'm retired now, so this is what I do. I just help my brothers and sisters, and I take care of them because that's what helps me.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of us, we get involved in nonprofit work or just the veteran community in general, because again, we just want to give back to our own community, help the ones that are coming after us and the ones that are around us that really need it. Because there's so many of us out there that don't necessarily feel like maybe they have the network or the community around them anymore. Because I know that was one thing that I struggled with when I got out of the Marine Corps. I know. We've talked before, and that was some of the stuff that I think a lot of us have struggled with, right?
Right.
So your time as a VSO, what was that? What was that like? And if you could give everybody, like, if there's some advice coming from being a VSO for anybody that needs to either contact a VSO for the first time, or if they're having troubles with like maybe getting some things across into the VA, what are some kind of advice you can give them?
Well, when I was a VSO, I started out as a veteran court mentor. And I was taking over the veteran treatment court for people that like our veterans that got in trouble with like DUI, stuff like that, they give them a second chance if they go through get their treatments. Because we found that a lot of them are not, they haven't been treated for any illness, and that's what they're doing is they're self-medicating or something like that, and that's what gets them in trouble.
Yeah.
So that's where I came into it. Picked up my VSO to help out. I did a lot of research on different things. It's mostly you've got to advocate for yourself. Find a good VSO. I like the county. Each county has a veteran service officer. We have ours as the Veterans Assistance Commission. It's it's not associated with the VA, but they have accredited VSOs that can file paperwork, but they do so much more than just the disability claims. And that's where a lot of people think just the VSOs are just disability claims, and they're not. We like the VSOs that I worked with, they do stuff from getting help financially and just trying to find homes for other veterans, like our homelessness. We're trying to fight that as much as we are the the claim portion, but there's the claims take their own time and just stay on it. Get as much information as you can for your VSO. That's probably the longest part, is them trying to gather records and stuff like that to put everything into the file, and diagnoses and that type of thing. That was the biggest thing, is trying to get those.
Okay. Yeah. So what's some things that the veteran can come prepared with that would help when contacting their VSO or submitting something to the VA?
A lot of it is medical records, documentation of everything, illnesses, what the symptoms are, stuff like that. If you can get a diagnosis, it's great from a VA doctor. That's the biggest one. They want the VA doctor. They don't, civilian doctors. I don't know why sometimes they don't think they're the same, but it's just, you want to give as much information for them so the VSO can just take it and compile it, write it up properly, and then submit it. If you don't have like treatment while you were in, then there's nexus letters, and you're going to need nexus letters, basically how they can link that injury or illness to service. That they can get it, because a lot of times you just file it. Like some people do them by themselves, and they just file it, and then they kick it back, and they're like, well, I need this. Well, that's where a good VSO will actually take care of that and walk you through. And like we have one here, the office that we use, they're all superb. Like they have lived it, and they do VSO work in their sleep sometimes, I feel like. It just, it's just, you gotta get all your ducks in a row, pretty much. You know how the VA works. Everything has to be done proper, and and it is, and it's a little time consuming, but the VSOs get bashed a little bit because it's taking too much time, and it's not their fault. It's the VA.
Right.
But yeah, do your research and find a good VA or a VSO, because that means a whole lot.
Okay. No, I mean, that's good, because like one thing that I've learned, because again, like I said, we've talked a little bit before, and my case is a little bit different than probably quite a few veterans out there, where I went through a medical, or a performance review board, a medical board, or whatever you want to call it, my time in the Marine Corps. And that's kind of how I had to exit and do an early retirement. But part of my medical board process was actually going through and doing all of my VA claims, getting my like the official reviews by the VA, getting checked out, and doing all the like those types of appointments to kind of see what my rating was, because I actually got a VA rating prior to exiting active duty, because again, that's just part of the board process. One thing that I had to learn the hard way is, just because I have it as a percentage claimed as for disability doesn't mean that I get continued care of what I was doing while I was active duty once I get into the VA. And what I mean by that is I was seeing a neurologist on a regular basis for my sleep disorder, for my nerve pain and muscular pain. I had medications that was treating some of those things as well that I was on for a couple years even leading up to being found unfit. But when I retired and it transitioned my medical treatment or my medical treatment over to the VA, there was a lot of things that the VA had to like redo and reassess.
Mhm.
Even though I had historical documentations from being active duty on this, it was part of my actual claim and the reason that I was found unfit, you know. And so learning that was probably one of the hardest things for me is because again, down here in Eastern North Carolina, like our local VA clinic was packed when I got out. And so there were no slots for me. So they immediately sent me out to community care. Community care is a great thing. However, you have to be way more proactive and on top of it and stay
Yep.
on top of it more when you're in community care. Because again, like you go in and you need a referral, your primary care and community care does submit the referral kind of, but they have to send it to the VA. Then the VA has to process it, and then they actually send it to the provider, the specialty provider,
Yeah.
right? And that there was so many times that I had to go back and forth for 4 or 5 months saying, "Hey, my PCM submitted this referral. Hey, we didn't get." Then the VA would be like, "Well, we didn't get the referral. Have them resubmit it." And
Yep.
like there was so much of that, and early last year, I finally got brought back into the actual VA clinic for treatment. So I'm no longer in community care. But again, what I found out is a lot of the stuff that I did while I was in community care, also those records didn't get transitioned over. So literally had to start it all over again. And it was just a pain. And I think and again, I say all this because I want veterans out there listening and that hear this is don't get don't get overly frustrated with the
Right.
process. And because again, a lot of us don't know that this is how it's going to work when we do get out because this stuff doesn't get talked about. At least I don't hear it get talked about very often.
Right.
So understand like it's going to be a process. It's going to be frustrating. It's just please continue, just be proactive, be as active as possible, keep on top of it the best you can because eventually you're going to get what you need. It just may take a little bit longer and
Right.
please don't give up.
Right.
The worst thing you could do is just give up and then not go get the treatment you need. Right.
Exactly.
So that's kind of I'll leave that little story at that. So um yeah, I mean, I think we all have similar stories or similar
Right.
experiences with the VA, you know, and I think you bring up a good point though, is like be as prepared and like you said, do your research and get the right VSO for
Yeah.
yourself, you know, because again, like a lot of us feel like we need to do things on our own sometimes, and the VSOs, that's what they're there for, is to help you and guide you and make sure things get done efficiently and effectively, so there aren't that back and forth because we all know the VA is going to do the back and forth as long as they can, you know.
Right.
So anything else that you want to touch on when it comes to the VSO or any kind of advice interacting with the VA?
No, the only thing I would have said is I wish I would have known when I was in to get all my records and get everything documented when I got hurt because that's the hardest is trying to pinpoint it back. Um, and and that was my biggest thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you bring up a great point there too. Is because a lot of us grew up in a generation where you didn't go to medical. If you
Mhm.
went to medical, you were looked at like you were trying to get out of something because somehow it always happened when there was a hike or something going on. Somehow it's always
Yep.
how it happens, right? Like you twist your ankle the week before, and guess what? There's a hike next week, and they're like, "Oh, you're just trying to get out of the hike, bro." Like no, like my ankle's messed up, you know. So we start seeing a lot of service members where they don't go to medical.
Right.
They figure out how to make it better. They tape it up themselves, and obviously they're not physical therapists or sports medicine experts, so like they don't do a very good job, or
Right.
they self medicate with over the counter, or they got a doc buddy somewhere that kind of hooks them up, and nothing ever gets documented. And when it's time to get out and start looking at your VA claim, there's no documentation to point back to get it service connected, And so that's probably one thing I always tell everybody now is document everything. Don't feel bad for going to medical. Don't feel bad for taking care of yourself, because guess what? Nobody's going to take care of you except for you.
You're right. And that's where a lot of it is just you got to advocate for yourself. And it's a lot of it.
No, absolutely. I think a lot of us have some of those same stories. But we are going to take a little bit of a break here. And when we get back, David, we're going to go into some of the nonprofits that you're a part of and what they do exactly.
All right.
So if you would, give us a little bit and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Bunkhouse here on Military Broadcast Radio, where we give veterans a voice. And if you're just now joining us, I have my guest, David McCleary. He's a Navy veteran, and getting ready to go ahead and talk about some of the nonprofits that he's a part of. David, if we want, go ahead and talk about, let's talk about a little bit about Buddy Check 22.
All right. Well, Buddy Check 22, Veteran Suicide Awareness, was started about 11 years ago. They started out, Kelly, she wanted to have a golf outing to raise money for suicide awareness, and just to make people aware of suicide. There was a guy that she worked with, um, went in and ended up taking his life. Well, we wanted to. It's grown from there to. I mean, we do a golf outing, but we pay for uh, therapy through our local hospital, our Well and Mind program here at Riverside, and we pay for the veterans, their spouses, their kids, their grandparents, their parents, whoever is associated with that veteran, to make sure that the veteran is a whole instead of just individuals.
Yeah.
Because you can fix the person, but as soon as you might fix that issue, but as soon as you send them right back to home, they're going to be right in the same situation. So um, I know a lot of our guys have been to it. We pay for you to go there. We got people go there once a month. You might only need it once, but you call the number and you get Riverside's Well in Mind. Once you tell them Buddy Check sent you, they have you processed within a week. So you're going to be in and talking to a therapist, which is really nice because we know the VA's got some, there's a lot of wait time. So a lot of times if we have crisis calls or whatever, we give them that number. That way they can go and at least get it started and get started in the process of getting help. Because, you got to get them as quick as possible. So we do that. This year we started doing mental health first aid training. I train mental health first aid to anybody in the environment. It can be just individuals. It could be a group. It can be veteran, non-veteran. I mean, I've taught people from everything. We have another organization that uses us, and that's how they make that a requirement for our crisis response. A lot of them go through that so that at least they can have that experience from and they can see what that veteran might be going through. So I teach that about every quarter. My next one's coming up in August. So, and it's free to the public. We pay for that.
Nice.
We pay for the books. We pay for the class. Everything. So it's to make it easier for the person, that anything to get that awareness out there for veteran suicide. That's what our goal is to get them so that people can recognize it and not stop it, but can notify the right people and get them the help they need. It might be getting the resources. Maybe somebody that took my class might say, "Hey, I heard about this, try this." And they can get them that resource, and that might be what helps them. So, and then the biggest thing is just Buddy Check. How it got its name is to check on your buddies on the 22nd of every month. I say do it at least once a week. That's what I try to do. But that's where she wanted it. On the 22nd of every month, reach out to a veteran. You never know if that one call might be what saves that veteran's life that day. I mean, it could be that just that call. So that's the basics for Buddy Check. We do a golf outing to raise money every year. It's a big one. It's a 2-day event. We have about 300 people golf in it. It's at our local golf course here. Just out having fun. I mean, it's a good time. So
That's awesome. I'm gonna put on here too the website real quick again, so everybody knows where to go to check out events.
Yeah, the website's been updated, most of it. It's bc22.com or vsa.com. Sorry. And then that you can link that will link you you can go onto the Facebook page. You can go on to, I think we have an Instagram now. We're working on other stuff. So there's a lot of different things we're trying to come in. I just became the executive director back November. So the one that
Awesome.
was there before, he ended up passing away, and we're creating a scholarship in his name, and that's on the website now too.
Okay.
We're trying to get that all kicked off. So that'll be a yearly scholarship, and then whatever money that we raise, we usually at the end of the year, if we don't use it, we donate it to other veteran nonprofits that help our mission. So like we've done to the Fisher House, we've done to um, there's a homeless shelter. Well, it's a assist supportive housing is what they're called. It's not a homeless shelter, but it's a
Got it.
supportive housing. It's a 14 bed, and it's brand new. We donated them to get a patio with a fence so that they have a place that they can safely um, safely hang out in the back and just be safe. So there's a lot of different things that we try to help out. If we don't do it, we at least can get it out to more people that can.
No, that's awesome. I think this is a great resource. If there's anybody out there, I know you guys are local to Illinois, but and again, there are a lot of things that you guys have in the works to get it out to more people across the United States. Doing some online programs, doing
Right.
some online courses and stuff like that. So please keep them in mind. Keep a watch out for those new things coming. I think this is awesome, man. So yeah, so what are some other events other than golfing? So I'm looking right now at your guys's calendar. So like the first aid classes, I really like the mental health first aid piece because it's just like taking a CPR class or
Exactly.
a general first aid class through the Red Cross, but this is strictly tailored to identifying and assessing mental health related symptoms, right?
Yep.
And I think that is phenomenal because there's so many things out there and so many people just don't know things to look for, and the more people that can be educated on the signs or some of the symptoms of
Mhm.
different mental health related issues, I think the better off the veterans are going to be because again, the folks that are around them are the ones that are going to see it first.
Right.
I try to check in on my fellow veteran, like my veteran buddies every so often. Like I have a group chat that I'm a part of, and we do fantasy football every year. Right, that's
Mhm.
one way that we stay connected on a regular
Yep.
basis. And yeah, it's specifically like we play fantasy football every year, but again, like we talk literally year round. It's not just
Mhm.
during football season. Um, we were talking back and forth during the NHL playoffs for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So like it keeps us engaged and talking all the
Right.
time, and and those are the things that we have to find. The
Mhm.
little things like that. Um,
Right. And
Hey
that's
Martin,
what.
how's it going, man? So we got a comment from Facebook real quick. Hey Martin, how's it going? Thanks. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening in. So yeah, so I think that's the big thing, and it's finding that community, finding that network outside of the
Right.
military, you
Yeah, and
know.
that's where they've worked. We work hand in hand with Project Headspace and Timing, which is another um, organization that I sit on the board. I do a lot of activities with.
Yeah,
They have our crisis side, so the buddy check doesn't have to fill that gap.
yeah,
So we kind of work hand in hand together. Um, so with Project Headspace and Timing, what they are is it's a veteran organization that it started out to help try to build tiny homes for homeless veterans, and then during COVID, basically, they saw the mental health went through the roof, and that's when the crisis teams came out. We do everything from getting veterans out
yeah,
to from getting them out. We take them camping, we take them hiking, kayaking, mountain biking. We have a whole trailer that's just full of stuff like this. um, we go fishing. We've done flight lessons. We've got a scuba diving class scheduled. Just basically trying to find stuff to get the veteran out.
yeah.
Um, And then we have a peer side of it, which is more of the crisis response, the peer to peer groups that we have. Um, we have one on Monday, one on Friday, and it's just peer veteran to veteran. We sit down, and there's no clinicians. It's just us talking,
Yeah.
and we're not here to solve anybody's problem. We're just to shoot the crap basically. But if you have an issue, you bring it up, maybe somebody else in the group has already dealt with something similar and can give you some advice to at least, hey, check out this resource or something like
Yeah.
that. And we have the same people come back and back and back, and it's amazing to watch this grow. We started with one class, and we've been doing this for about 4 years now, and now we're at two groups, on one on Monday, one on Friday. We're getting ready to do a mobile one. We've got other counties in our area that want to do it because it's all done in person right now.
Yeah.
So we've got, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 other counties in the state of Illinois that want us to do it, and we're like, we don't have the bandwidth to do this. We
Yeah.
would love to do this, but we're all we're volunteers. It's
Yeah.
just a bunch of veterans just looking out after our own brothers and sisters, and so we're trying to give them advice on how to start it up, how to get it something going in your area,
Yeah.
and it works great. That's the biggest thing with them. We do have a spouse group with Project Headspace and Timing, where the spouses get together about once a month, something like that. They might go eat breakfast. They might do yoga. They might just have a meeting, whatever it is that they can. But they also have like you said with the text, they can text
Yeah.
each other, and just if something comes up, they can call any of us, and we're out, and we'll be there. And we have a fat cave, is what we call it. It's our lounge.
Yeah.
It's basically it's just a safe house. It's a safe zone. You can come here. We've sat here for 3 or 4 hours, and people just yell, scream, whatever. That's what it's for. Is it's just to get somebody out with other people so that we can work together, and we're going to help. We're not saying we're going to save them, but
Right.
we're going to help you get the resources you need and get you in the direction that you can go to get you the help that you need. We work with a lot of facilities outside of Illinois that we've taken people to Minnesota, we've sent them to Texas, we've sent them to Indiana. There's all over. It's just different resources that we can use. It's
Yeah.
not just limited to us, so that we're constantly grabbing from the outside. So
No, that's awesome, dude. Like, I I love that because I think that's again when we all get out. At least I this is kind of how I experience, and a lot of veterans I talk to kind of have similar stories to where they just they feel like that when they get out, they're the people who they served with that are still active duty, the leadership that they had while they were active duty just kind of forgets about them and no longer cares about them once they reach the other side, right? Once
mhm,
they get the DD 214 in hand, and they step out that door, and it's like nobody ever thinks about you again,
right,
right? And so it's I love when I hear stories of organizations creating that brotherhood and that sisterhood, that family again. That we bought into when we raised our right hand
right,
to serve our country, because that was part of the oaths that we took. Was like that was part of it. Is we got our own family, a new family, a
mhm,
family of like literally that you would go to like die for if you
right,
had to.
yep,
Um, so yeah, it's that's probably one of the hardest things I think for most of us is trying to find that again once we do get out, especially if you don't continue to live around military installations where there's a large veteran presence. Like you go back to your hometowns where a lot of the veteran presence are a much older generation than you. Now, not saying that's an excuse to not get intertwined with that, right? But again, a lot of us we feel more comfortable with our generation of veteran to talk to and and really hang out with, like at least I know I do. I've also noticed that a lot of us don't join the VFWs like the
Right.
older generation of veterans do either. Which again, that's also a good resource out there as well. Your American Legions, your VFWs, like those are good local resources and a good network to get into to stay connected and also be able to give back to the veteran community.
Right.
Because I will say I've found by doing my podcast and now being able to do these lives and being able to interview great veterans like yourself that are working hard in the mental health and just the veteran space in general, like that's therapy for me,
Right.
like it helps me out. Like I selfishly say this because again, like you got to find those things that give you a purpose that make you want to wake up the next day and still do it again, and getting involved in stuff like this is definitely a good way of doing that, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And I really like how you guys have went into the spouse side of it as well, because I do think that's definitely a space that does not get talked enough about enough is the spouses. Everybody always focuses on the veteran themselves once they get back or when they have issues or when they get out, but nobody talks about or supports the spouse, especially after the uniform comes off for their significant other. Is the spouse really doesn't have any resources, especially if the veteran didn't get to retire from service. If they just did their 4 to 8 or 12 years, even they get out, there is no dependent ID card.
Right.
If you're not, if they're not a retiree, there's none of that, and so I do think that's definitely something that needs to be talked about a lot more. And I'm glad if you guys have a space for spouses to come together and talk, because again, when families move away from being around like-minded families, like where spouses are with other veteran spouses or other military spouses, they go back to a hometown where that's not a prevalent population, and they try to make friends with even some of their friends from high school that they just don't get a lot of the stuff that they had to deal with or go through, right? And so just like with us as veterans, we experienced the exact same things. But no, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's great. So
all right. We're going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about David and some things that are coming up for him next month. He was a guest on my pre-record releases that I do on a monthly basis, so we'll talk a little bit about that. So again, thanks to everybody tuning in so far. We will be back here shortly.
Wonder what was going on inside the man in black's mind. Was he missing June? Was he thinking back when that picture was snapped? Was he wishing he could hold her? Did he know his life was over? The day that camera flashed the last picture of Johnny Cash. Lines of life there on his face show hard living and show grace. A story told in shades of black. Was he whispering a prayer through that cold and lonesome glare? The day the camera flashed the last picture of Johnny Cash.
Somewhere on the other side, the day that came
Johnny Cash. Wonder what was going on inside the man in black's mind. Day old Marty Flash, last picture of Johnny Cash.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Bunkhouse here on Military Broadcast Radio, where we give all veterans a voice. If you're just now joining us, my guest here is David McCleary, Navy veteran. He is he is part of Buddy Check 22, which they do a lot of things when it comes to like a first aid type for mental health with veterans, educating the communities, spouses, friends, stuff like that around what to kind of expect and how to help them out. He also works closely with Headspace and Timing, Project Headspace and Timing, where they go through and take veterans out, do some outdoor activities as well. So again, make sure that we share all that information with everybody if you missed that part of the show. So now I want to get into with David's story a little bit. We're not going to talk too much about David's story. If you want to hear more about David and his background, some of the things that he's been through to get him to where he is today, some of his healing and growth, you can actually go over to my link tree or to my website. You'll see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. Go over there, check it out. It's going to be released in July 15th or so. So about the middle of July, so about the second or third Monday of July, you'll be able to see that. It'll be hosted on Apple Podcasts, on my website, on YouTube. So David, again, I think what you're doing with Buddy Check 22 and in Project Headspace and Time is phenomenal. If you could tell us a little bit about what got you into wanting to give back to the veteran community and back to your brothers and sisters.
Well, I've always been I'm always been a helper. I've always wanted to help in some form.
Yeah.
When I got out, I shied away. Like I said, I shied away from the military. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I felt wrong. I felt alone, all that. Once I got out, I was working over the road and I figured I had to do something to give back.
Yeah.
I look at it from me as no one's going to take care of us if we don't take care of our own.
Right.
No one else cares. It's like we're outcasted. So that's when I got into more of the medical side. I tried to become a paramedic, firefighter. I did that for a while until I hurt my back. Once my back kind of went bad, go figure, from the military.
Yeah. Right.
Once it finally gave out, I had to get an implant and all this in my back, and these shots and all this, and it just took more and more toll. I couldn't safely lift a patient on a gurney into the ambulance, so I figured that's not my calling. So I went in, and that's when I was a VSO for a while, and I loved the job because I was helping veterans.
Right.
That wasn't where I didn't feel like that was where I needed to be. I needed more. I was more than just behind the desk trying to help somebody. I had to get more active with them. Once I got out of that, I was going back to school anyways. Once I got out of paramedic, and I went into psychology, and that's where I really put two and two together, that it was helping me, and I was hurt and I didn't realize it. I was putting everything into it. Well, once I started helping others, it seemed like that was where it was. And now it's just grown into taking over everything. I give my life. This is who I am now. I do nothing but help veterans. and it helps me. So it's not like I'm just selfishly doing it just to keep myself busy.
Right.
That helps me because like when we're in these peer groups, I sit here and, you know, I might not have any issues right then, but I listen to these other guys talk and I'm like, oh, well, wait, this helps. So now you're telling something and I've lived it, but then this person's telling, and I'm learning from it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is just so amazing. It's just I'm picking up so much that I can pass on to somebody else. And if I can just give save one person, then I feel like that's my purpose. And that's where I need to be. And that's what I've kind of grown into this role that I want to be. So,
No, that's awesome. And I think you bring up a great point there is around you're not just it's just not help you're not just helping veterans, but they're also helping you at the same time, right?
exactly.
Like, yeah, like you're there, you're providing a service, your main focus is to help them, but also like providing that help is therapy for you. Like I
Hmm.
feel the same way doing this show, doing my podcast, or anytime I get involved in any veteran community or veteran nonprofit where I'm assisting or supporting in some way, in some fashion, I get the same thing because again, most of us joined the military to serve, right?
Right.
And I know that sounds cliche or like a poster somewhere, but that's I mean, it's not just to serve our country, but we feel a sense of service to something
Yep.
bigger than us, right? Like that's really what it is. It's not just service to your country, but you're looking for a purpose to serve a cause or to serve something that is bigger than yourself,
Right.
right? And this is, if not in my opinion, the next best thing after you get out is taking the things that you've learned through the good and bad times, the dark and the light times, and taking that and throwing that back in and supporting your
Right.
fellow veteran and helping them. So hopefully it doesn't take them as long to grow as it did for you to grow, right? And take
Exactly.
or at least to start the healing. Because I
And
think no, go ahead. Sorry.
and the way I look at it is a lot of what we did in the service, it we're continue this is continuing it because like
Yeah.
as a good leader, the leaders usually they didn't just give them orders, they gave them what you needed to do and how you needed to act and it was they took care of each other and it was just and it wasn't so much as just your crap bag. It was they mentored you in some way, and that's what this whole thing is just to do that. Like when
Yeah.
I had my fishing outing. I had my first ever fishing tournament that I held. It's the Viper 2 N22 fishing tournament, and it was the 13th of this month.
Okay.
I only had 3 boats that went out. It was what, seven people, and
Yeah.
it was the first year, and I kind of felt down about it when I first got, as I was like, yeah, it could have been better, could have been,
Yeah.
but when they got off that water that night and I got home, I got a text message from one of the veterans that went there, and he wanted to thank me. He said, "You don't understand how much this really meant for me to be out there today." And when I got that text message, that was just like a sucker punch. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is exactly why I'm doing this." I was sitting there with my wife, and I'm just like, "Oh, you got to look at this." And I couldn't even read it to her. It hit that hard, and I was like,
Yeah.
that just made everything better. And that's the type of thing that I have to do.
No, that's and you're exactly right. I think that's the kind of the same way I think most of us, if not all of us, that deal in the veteran space in some shape or fashion, if we can touch just one veteran's life for the better, then everything, all the struggles we've been through, all the effort we've put into giving back to our community is well worth it, even if
Right.
it only just touches one person, right?
Exactly.
And I truly believe that too, and that's awesome. I love hearing stories like that because again, like you said, like when you kind of closed out the night after the tournament, you're like, man, this I really wish this could have been better. And
Mhm.
it was actually way better than
Right.
what you thought it was, right? It's all
Exactly.
about perspective, like a lot of times, like the way we look at things is all about perspective because again, we know what we want to do with how we're supporting or trying to give back to the veteran community. We want it to be so immersive and like just so extreme, like to help as many people. But man, when you get that one text, like that changes everything, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I guarantee you, there's some things that you've taken from this tournament that you're going to put into
Oh
next
yeah.
year's tournament, right?
Exactly.
Like, and that's the thing. Yeah. See, again, it's there's always a time for learning, and obviously it was a success because if it wasn't, I don't think anybody would have texted you like that, if
Right.
it wasn't a success. And
Yep.
so, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
It was great.
no, that's amazing. So let's see. Are there any events that are coming up that you want to talk about or promote out there to kind of get the word out?
Well, I mean, basically, we've got, amongst all the nonprofits, I've got a lot of stuff coming up, but just some like the Legion. I mean, we're doing bingos. We hold a bingo every year with our local friendship festival here. So we'll be out there all weekend. That's this weekend, and then the July 25th, I have a veteran kiddie pool tournament.
Okay.
This is the fourth year. Yeah, the fourth year. What do we do is we go out and there's a local country or like just a sportsman club right here that lets us go out to their little pond and everybody has to fish with a kiddie pole.
Oh, nice.
And it is so much fun. I was just doing it just to kind of have fun.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, the kids will have so much fun out there, and you're catching little crappie, little bluegill, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the veterans and their spouses have more fun because they're like fighting over who's catching the biggest one with these little bitty kiddie pools
Yeah.
that you get when like little Barbie pools and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then at the end of it, we always have we have like hot dogs and stuff that we cook, but we gather up all the adults have to donate their kiddie pools.
Okay.
So they donate them to us, and then I take them to our state's attorney who has it's called a real fishing group, and it
Okay.
basically gets kids from the county. They take them fishing and get them
Oh, cool.
kind of introduce them into fishing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I donate all the kiddie pools to them so that they have, so they can have them and fish. So it kind of does a two purpose type deal. And it was
Yeah.
just meant to be a fun play around thing. And we have probably 25, 30 people out there fishing and the kids catching their very first fish. And it's awesome to see. Everybody's like, you're doing this again next year, right? Yeah, we're going to have fun. It's free. So it's for veterans to come out and just hang out. And it's just stuff like that. Then we also we have a lot of we have a car show that we're coming up in August. There's one of the guy that owns the shop that we do our peer groups at. He's a veteran. He was a Navy veteran,
Yeah.
master at arms, and he's a disabled veteran that he teaches concealed carry. He started it's kind of like a SHOT Show out in
Yeah.
Vegas, but he's
Okay.
done it locally. And it's a smaller scale for right now, but it's just starting. This will be a second year. It's called Guns and Grub. That'll be the end of August, the 29th, out at the range. They bring out, you can fire weapons, you can test out different things, stuff like that. And then in September 25th and 26th is the Buddy Check 22 Veteran Suicide Awareness 11th annual golf outing.
Okay.
That one, it's open to anybody that wants to buy a team, and all the money is raised and goes to supporting our cause. So it pays for the mental health first aid classes. It pays for therapy, all that. We are raffling off 2 sets of, smaller sets of golf clubs. They're Patriot golf clubs. Patriot has donated them to us so we can raffle them off. There'll be a hybrid wood, and a set of irons, and a golf bag.
Nice.
And that's what the raffle is going to be. There's going to be, there'll be like raffle prizes. There's different businesses have donated stuff. And then you get 18 holes of golf and cart and meal, and you get to have a lot of fun. So, and it's a lot of fun.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Like,
yeah.
What I will say is that one thing I've learned is that getting out in, whether it be in the nature, camping, fishing, hunting, or just getting out playing around a golf even, that makes the world a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, a lot of us, we kind of get our own headspace and we'll just sit around the house and not want to go do anything and just kind of want to be to ourselves. Like, even if you just go out by yourself and just go walk a trail or just go to the driving range, hit a small bucket of balls, or if you live by the beach, go for a little walk on the beach or something at sunrise or sunset. Just that, even once a week or even once or twice a month, even, that makes the world a difference, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've got a service dog, and that's where, with training him, that helped dramatically, because you're doing something and you're out of your head. I was more worried about him than anything. And, is he doing all right? Is he good? And so I'm worried about him. So it's getting out of my head, which helps me. So anything to get him moving out, just anything. And that's what most of what we want to do.
No, that's awesome, David, man. I really love what you're doing in the veteran community and giving back to fellow veterans. Is there any last words or any last advice you want to give to anybody listening out there?
Like I say all the time, it's okay not to be okay. Reach out. That's the biggest thing, is to reach out for help. Just find somebody. I don't care who it is. And if you know veterans in your area, reach out to them, because that could be what saves them. And we got a lot of older generation, the Vietnam vets, that they don't want to talk. If you can at least just be there to let them know that they're not alone, that's a positive thing. So
absolutely. And again, thank you for joining with me today, David. Hope to have you on the show again sometime. Again, everybody watch out for his episode getting released on my monthly, so you'll get to hear his full story, his background and everything coming up next month. So again, thank you everybody for listening in. One last thing before we cut out of here is if you know anybody, or if you yourself are having any issues, please know that you're not alone. And that there's somebody out there that's always going to help you. And if you can't find anybody close or locally, please use the mental health crisis line, dial 988. For the veteran crisis line, select option 1 once you do that. If you're hard of hearing or deaf, they also have a line specifically for you as well, 1-800-799-4889. So please, again, just know that you're not alone. And I'm telling you, there's somebody out there that wants to see you succeed and truly cares about you. And as always, be the light in someone's dark.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us, giving our veterans a voice.